Hey guys, it's Kate, and I hope you're having a great day. We have been covering lots of different textures with watercolor, and I have a recent video on the use of salt. But another possibility you can use for texture and some really neat effects is alcohol. So I'm going to be showing you a few different effects that you can get with it, and we're going to do a couple tests and also a little bit of a painting. So stick around and we will go through this together. So the first thing I want to do is show you the difference between the application methods. So I have this dropper here, and I'm just using alcohol. 70% is just the drugstore variety. I've got a bottle here, and I also have some in my spray bottle. So I want to show you the different textures you can get with each one. So first I'm going to mix up some color. I'm using hot press New York Central cotton paper today, and I'm going to use a darker color so that you can get a good idea of how this looks. So I'm going to mix some up in my palette, and then I'm going to do just a quick little wash on my paper. And it's going to be pretty wet so we can get that alcohol, and I'm going to get it pretty smooth. All right. Now, while this is still wet, let's do the spray bottle method. And you can see you get some really neat texture there. It basically instantly pushes the paint aside and you get a really neat, it's almost like granulation. Okay, this is dry, so I'm going to go in with my second coat. And again, I'm going to just make a quick little wash here. Just like this. I'm going to take my lid off of here and go in with the dropper and grab some. And then I'm going to drop droplets right in here. Isn't that beautiful? And if you go over the same one again, it doesn't really do much else. But as long as this is wet, you can go in with your dropper there. Okay, for my last one, I'm going to be a little bit looser. So I'm going to put some in my hand and let it just fall onto the page in big and small drops. All right. Just like that. All right. I'm just going to let some come right in my hand and flick it. And some of it's going to get in this one, but that's okay. And you get really neat cells. So I'm going to do a close-up here. And it's really beautiful. So we're going to do a little sample painting and find out some different ways we can use this. So I'm going to grab another piece of my hot press paper, but first I'm going to clean my hands and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm going to go into my Payne's Gray and my Ultramarine Blue, and I'm going to go for my water first and get a very loose wash going on this sky. Very watery and wet. And I'm going to let it fade out, coming down to the bottom. And I'm going to add some more Prussian blue coming down to the bottom. Staying very watery still. Just like that. Now I'm going to go in and blot a little bit up here for some clouds. And my paper is warping just a little. That's totally fine with me right now. All right, now I'm going to come back in with this blue, and I'm going to add a little bit of burnt, let me see, got some Van Dyke brown here. Let's go for that. little bit more water, a little bit more brown. Now I'm going to come in here. Maybe some yellow ochre in there. And add some green. Just like that. Now I'm going to grab this piece of paper here to block my sky. And I'm going to add some texture right to my mountain. And let that run down. And then I'm going to blot up a little bit right here that's extra. And even do a little bit more. Like that. Then I'm going to come back in. I'm going to add some green to this. And I love that texture that's going on there. This is still moist. Let's see how this goes. All right. Come back in here with the green and the yellow. Warm that up. And let's put in some flowers in this field, shall we? Just like that. And how about we add some more darkness to the top here with some more of that brown and Payne's gray right over our alcohol. And we can spray that again. Look at all this texture we're getting. I'm going to flick some flowers in there. Let me get a nice red going. This is very abstract, but I love it. Let me get a little bit of yellow. And add a little bit of lightness. We'll just have a field of flowers. and let this spread around, but that alcohol has such wonderful texture. And I'm just adding a couple little drops to my finger and just giving it a good flick. And I'm going to come in with my brush again and give this a harder edge, just like that. And maybe a little bit of a harder edge on my hill. And just drop some color in here. You flick in a little bit more alcohol. And you can get some really interesting effects there. Now, look at all this texture. Our sky's pretty regular, but then you go down. Look at that. And that could serve as a background to something. It can be a beautiful abstract painting. I mean, the sky is the limit. Just get creative with it, different ways to apply. You might be able to take some, like actually, let's see, because I haven't done this before, but let's say I wanted to do a glaze over this color. And this is dry now. So we have this texture here that we put down earlier. And you can do a nice glaze and you can still see that texture coming through. But let's say we wanted to do some more. How about that? And then you get kind of a two-tone thing going on there. Or maybe we could come in with a totally different color. So I'm going to go with this blue. Let's just make a green, might as well. A little teal color. And see what happens on top of this. And let me do the flicking. And check that out. And you could layer and layer and layer. Now, what if I wanted to do something up here? And instead of spraying, what if I put, what if I just put some alcohol on my baby wipe and blotted? That does something interesting too. So let me do a close-up here. You get that blotting effect, and then you get a glaze, and then that secondary spray. And it's not dry yet, but it'll continue to start looking better. And this one is still moist and it's still spreading out, but I'm going to come back in just a second when these are all completely dry, and then I'll show you the final. Okay, I'm back and we are all dry. So I will start with a close-up of this first one. So this also has the glaze on it. This top one was where I dabbed it with the baby wipe on the glaze layer. That dark blue, I think, was on top. Yeah. So the blue was on top and I dabbed it with that baby wipe that had alcohol in it. And you can see the little creases that it left in there, which is a really neat texture. And then the parts where the alcohol had pushed it aside on the layer underneath, you can see the blue more clearly in those areas as the second layer. Same thing here. So this darker blue area where you can't see too much purple, that's from that first layer where the alcohol pushed it aside, and then you have some more texture here where the blue was pushed aside on top of that purple layer. And then we have this second layer here with more of that spray, and it leaves that really nice, just textured effect that's sort of even, and that's from the spray bottle twice. And then here we have this gorgeous little landscape abstract. And you can use this. I mean, this could be, you know, it's just really pretty. It's so pretty. And you could paint over this again. You can darken areas. You can paint in elements. This doesn't have to be finished. You can add so much more to it and more layers and colors. But for the purposes of this video, I really wanted to show what you can do with the alcohol. And look at all that texture. And that's a combination of spraying and flicking and drops. And there's just so much interest there visually. So I really highly recommend just go pick up a bottle of the alcohol for a couple of bucks and play around with it and see what you can come up with your paintings and your experimenting. So I hope you enjoyed this video and that you'll give alcohol a try with your watercolors. And by alcohol, I mean rubbing alcohol. Unless you want to drink on the side, that's fine too. Anyway, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe. And until next time, keep creating.